Nerd on the Podcast is proud to be powered by Focusrite and TCG Player. Enjoy the show. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, support the show by joining the Nerd On Nation powered by Patreon. Go to nerdon.tv/Patreon and get Nerd On exclusives for as little as $1 a month. Nerd on the Podcast is proud to be powered by Focusrite and TCG Player. Enjoy the show. Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, support the show by joining the Nerd On Nation powered by Patreon. Go to nerdon.tv/Patreon and get Nerd On exclusives for as little as $1 a month.
Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. Hi, everyone. How are you? I am your host, Esteves, the Azoran one, and I'm joined by a fabulous foursome, making us all a fivesome. Whatever. I'm joined by
Amy. Hi.
And I'm Josh.
And I'm Tom.
Oh, thank you, Tom. And I'm Corey. Look at that. Tom, look what you did. That was so nice of you.
Aww.
Oh, this is one of thank you guys for listening. If you like what you hear on the show, real quick, I'm just gonna do a soft pitch for our Patreon.
Just
join it,
one.
keep the lights on. Tom says for less than a cup of coffee.
Mm.
We don't want it to be a hard
produce
pitch.
A show. No, a soft pitch. That's why coffee's a nice pillowy donut, less than a donut, guys.
Man.
A month, one donut a month buys you all this. Look at
Where
this,
are you
early
getting
access,
Early.
extra episodes. But listen,
Several months.
Look at
what
this.
else? The special thing you get is you also get a shout out on our episodes.
Yeah.
And
You
this
do.
episode is dedicated to someone very near and dear to my heart, very special. Mr. Kyle Robinson, the professor. Shout out. Just had a baby.
Kyle,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
We love you. Although he'll be hearing this way later, that's okay.
He had
Because it's Halloween today.
Yeah, that's
he had a
right.
baby
Almost
5 months
sounds-
ago.
Like Colin.
Almost.
Almost.
But there it is. Shout out to Kyle. We love you, bud. And thank you for supporting the show. Back to you.
So, Steves, what's the episode today?
Oh,
Yeah, what is the episode?
oh,
Oh,
death. Death has come to your town, Sheriff.
Death becomes no.
No,
Death becomes her?
Not that one. Not yet. Tonight, we are getting spooky, and we're talking about a horror classic, my favorite horror film of all time, 1978's Halloween.
Resurrection.
Not the resurrection.
Well,
Maybe knock over the gnome.
Directed by
Halloween, directed by John Carpenter, produced by Debra Hill, written by John Carpenter and Debra Hill, and starring the likes of Donald Pleasence, Jamie Lee Curtis, PJ Souls, Nancy Loomis, Charles Cyphers, Nancy Stevens, Tony Moran, and Nick Castle.
Hey, and who did the music?
Oh, well, you know what? It happens to be John Carpenter.
what?
Get out.
What a creative
No.
feller. I bet he's
creative
going
feller.
somewhere.
He might be.
Did you say
Coach
Dan
Rob gives him a
O'Bannon?
shot.
Fingers crossed.
What?
Did you say Dan O'Bannon, Steves?
No,
Did he produce?
I did no. Erwin Chapley.
It's a trivia episode where we just belligerent like
Yeah.
Steves all this stuff.
Erwin Chim. No.
Must not be a
With the
fan.
name. Oh, cut.
Pull the card. Pull the card.
We're done. Cut the feed.
As always,
Erwin-
nerd on.
Commit
There
to
it
the
is.
bit.
We're-
I'm just kidding.
Erwin
Okay,
Erwin Yablans was the executive producer, and he's the one who came up with the name Halloween. Because before the movie was going to be called The Babysitter Murders.
Well, it's a better name.
Yes, it is.
The Babysitter Murders Resurrection.
So, Steve, why are we doing this episode? Why did you suggest it?
Well,
Why is this your fault?
everyone is my fault. Everyone is well aware of my love for this film, but we have yet to have a discussion as a team, as a crew, as a family,
As a unit.
as a unit
I'm actually surprised.
about said film, being also that we're all such big fans of John Carpenter. Corey, of course, most of us here loving The Thing as their number one horror movie of all time.
What's the thing?
It's
I'm just kidding.
exactly that what Corey's doing. That's what it is. So, since everyone's heard me talk nerd out about this movie, nerd out, I thought we'd bring it to everyone else and have everyone else talk about this John Carpenter film that pretty much became his business card in the industry.
Is that
So we should go around the robin and talk a little bit about like how we heard about it, what was it like when we first watched it. Get people who might be new into the horror films. It's October. People are trying to watch horror movies, and also the internet's, everyone's listening, and everything's new for them first time. Amy is, I think, a great champion steward of exploring films that quote unquote everyone should have already known and watched, but we offer a way for people to lightly get into it. So you want to watch Halloween, this is what you should know.
Yeah, actually,
but Amy,
hear Amy's take. Yeah.
Amy.
Well, we should start out that I am the freshest and most newest to watching this film because I had avoided it like the plague. Super fresh, baby. So fresh, so clean. Esteves is the reason that I've watched this movie. I have no shame. It was October 26th of 2017 when I first saw this movie. No joke. And I streamed it. So this is one of the only pictures that's left of me watching it midstream. There was video of it, but I had commercials cut in, which was great. So I was having smaller panic attacks. Esteves came in for the first 10 to 15, left, and showed up for the last 20 minutes. So my viewing experience,
I knew when to come back.
It was good. And really, prior to that, I knew about Halloween in the zeitgeist, in pop culture zeitgeist. I knew Michael Myers. I avoided it. I don't like scary things. I don't like to be scared. I'm easily scared. And this, that doesn't help. not that Michael Myers.
Not my bad, baby.
No.
I threw up a picture of the baby driver Mike Myers for the audio.
But really, it was one of those things that kind of was eye-opening, and the fact that Esteves came in and cheered me on, and it made my first viewing experience really, really ridiculous, but also kind of spawned this really great thing where the next year, the 2018 Halloween came out, and so I literally bypassed everything except for Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I really like that. But so I went from 78 to 2018, and so I've been absolved.
Corey.
I'll go next. Oh, thanks, Tom.
And I'm Tom.
So I grew up on The Thing, obviously. I grew up watching The Thing, and then that got me into Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
That got me into Christine and stuff like that.
That got you into trouble
in Little China.
In Little
China, specifically.
Did you have to escape from LA?
They Live is up there as probably one of my other favorite Carpenter films, but I was late to the game on Halloween. I had not seen this until I was a bit older, which I think is actually fine. I think that's fine. My late teens, early 20s is when I finally saw it.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, I am a sucker. I saw it about the same time that I got into Alien, the original film. And I really went on this kick, and I had a buddy of mine where we would watch 70s and 80s sci-fi and horror films specifically. That was our movie club, because there is something very special to me about that time in cinema, especially in those genres, where I'm this is peak. CGI wasn't great enough to take over, but practicals were at peak. And so there's some magical je ne sais quoi about that time in those genres of filmmaking, and this fit that.
Sorry.
A lot of the boobies.
Come on.
And this fit that bill perfectly. So we're okay, we're gonna do it's Halloween, because that's when we watched it, on Halloween, because that's, I feel how you should watch
That's what you do.
If you have the opportunity to watch this on Halloween as your first time, you should do it. And I was not disappointed. I was a fan of Jamie Lee Curtis already, so getting to see her in this was really fun. I won't get into too many spoilers, but obviously I was credits roll, and I was yep, add it to another win for John Carpenter. I mean, Jordan Peele said it the best when they're I don't think of any other film director besides Jordan Peele in the horror genre who's had this many wins. And he was I will not have John Carpenter slander on my Twitter feed. Thank you very much. Because the dude is batting 1,000 for his horror films. So I would say, if you like his other, this is the most concentrated John Carpenter thing. I mean, the budget was nothing. It's so creatively shot and creatively done. I paid attention to the timelines, the minutes in the film of when things actually happen, and I was so surprised this time around But yeah, anyway, love it. It is instant. I mean, my wife and I watched it together that time, and we're like, this is added to our Halloween lineup forever, for sure. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to watch.
Feels good.
It's good.
Campy in
Josh?
all the right ways.
Sure, I'll go.
Don't sound too excited though, Josh.
No, I know the reason
Calm
why
down.
I was like, I'm thinking about it, and I feel like I'm sure there's movies that are just kind of like a part of your life. They're just
Mhm.
they're just there, and you've probably watched them so much that you don't remember the first time you saw. I don't remember. I have a vague recollection that I remember. I forget what channel it was. I think it was like it was either USA or the Sci-Fi Channel that would air scary movies, horror movies, and of course they were probably edited and
Both of them.
yeah,
They both did.
yeah, they both did that. So it's like I feel like I have a vague memory that that's when I first saw it, but I also have memories of like as a kid. I was a kid watching horror movies when I really shouldn't. I remember watching Silence of the Lambs when I was like 6. I told Bonnie the other day and she was like, "What? Why?"
Closer.
Weird childhood.
Closer.
I do remember specifically when I think I've told the story of when I worked at Hollywood Video, I started working through the horror section. And it's like A through Z, just like, I got free rentals. I'm just going to rent horror movies. And anyway, this one
came up with H. HA.
This
was really early
HA.
on.
Yeah.
Going alphabetically.
Ha. Sorry. I mean, this one's just, it's hard. Like, this is so good. When you
It's
talk
so
about
good.
a classic movie, it's like, because it's amazing. It
100%.
sets the stage for horror. I think it's like when you think
It set
of
the
like,
ground rules.
yeah, it sets the ground rules. When you think of like Michael Myers is such a horror quote like villain and like monster. Like you think of Friday the 13th, you think Jason, you think Freddy. You like they are like Michael Myers is like a god amongst the horror genre.
He's the granddaddy.
You know,
like
Josh, you've really like spurred something, thought bubble for me, because it totally is like watching Scream when they're talking about horror, or like, and especially any 90s thing where they're like meta gaming
I'll
on
be
horror.
right back. You know,
It's
you're like,
all
oh, honey.
Halloween.
Yeah.
It all stems from what he laid down there. Yeah. In this like low budget, like let's get it done. Let's shoot it creatively.
Yeah. So
You're totally right, Josh.
So I think like that's all I'll say right now before we get into the specifics.
Specifics.
What about you, Tom?
Tom.
Well, I can't remember. I can't remember the first time I watched it. I remember I was like, I was scared of everything as a child, and then all of a sudden, like, I think I was just like, they're just movies. How scared can I be? Oh, I was wrong. And how The Grudge humbled me. And it was something where I was just kind of like, let me just conquer the fear. Let me just go watch them all.
Bruce Wayne.
And like, I'm pretty sure the first time I watched it, I probably did not think twice too much about Halloween. It was like, cool, I want to get through all of them so I could just like, cool, I'm caught up with the lore. Like I wasn't worried about the cinematics. I wasn't worried about like the storytelling or like the precedent it was built upon or built in. And I was more just like, it's just some guy. Well, I ain't scared of no guy. Whatever, just get a gun, shoot him.
Raise no
What are you
bitch.
talking about? What are you talking about? Like, Chucky's an evil spirit running around. You got like Freddy Krueger, he's in your dreams, right? I was like,
in that one.
Chucky.
Michael's
Chucky
just a
fine.
boy.
I'm just
He's
gonna-
just a
I would,
boy.
yeah, he's just a boy. He
This is a baby
he was
movie
born.
made for babies.
We're in a clown
Yeah.
mask.
Drinking baby milk. But yeah, and you know, I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger beat a Terminator, beat a Predator, beat Satan, and I was like, come on. But no, yeah, I think it wasn't until probably college when, like, you know, it really, you know, the curriculum, you know, film school really just asked me to, like, you know, look into the things I've watched with a different lens and think about it. And I think the coolest thing, you know, rewatching for this episode was just to think about where John Carpenter was, what the world was at the time, and just thinking about how in the late 70s at that point, the influence of war as well as society and how it played into films at that point, and then what like the film that was prior to this, Assault on Precinct 13, very much kind of influenced this, and like Alien, Blade Runner, and even Dark Star, all these after Star Wars, like all these films are coming out after there was after that movie, and you just kind of think like what Halloween is, and at the time, like to retread some things that have already been said or what will be said, like this kind of solidified the quote unquote slasher formula, where there's so many films afterwards that were following in the footsteps in the sense of like Inauguration Day, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all these killer slasher films on holidays or on specific days, like they all followed after this film. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's just like it spawned such a huge thing. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of a different angle and say, to Josh's point, you could play as him in Dead by Daylight, which means something, because like there's a lot of horrific characters out in the world, but the icons are the ones the licensing and everyone wants to play
These
as,
the
and
giants
it's like
that they talk about standing.
Well,
on the shoulders of
they
giants.
definitely
Like this is one of them.
Yeah, they left their mark on the world. Steve, you talked a little bit about it, but like, what's the unturned stone you want to talk about before we get into the next part?
As in me personally with this film?
Yeah.
So, as much of a horror fan as I am now, I did not grow up as one. As a kid, the only horror movie I had seen was Poltergeist, which is a PG Spielberg produced horror movie.
It's a baby movie.
And a good one.
Yeah, it's great.
I
It's
just
for
saw
babies.
this like last year.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. It's safe space.
All words are welcome.
The all are welcome. Nice Poltergeist.
This house is cleansed.
Yes, Toby Hooper and Spielberg working together, and it wasn't until high school, and I always explain this. Scream is the movie that introduced me to Halloween. I call Scream the cool friend you have who's a girl, and she introduces you
And
to
Scream
the
is
girl
very good.
who's going to be your future wife, and that's what Scream did for me with Halloween. Yes, Scream is very good. And so I saw Scream, like, what's the movie they're watching? I need to know more about this. And I watched Halloween. It is my number one inspiration when it comes to pursuing my own writing. There's Good Will Hunting, there's Swingers, and Halloween is the first one that I think of when it comes to what Carpenter was able to do.
Do you have a letterbox?
I do. I'm horrible at keeping up on it.
I was gonna say there's a top 4, and I'm like,
I made like 3 top whatever. Like I think I did top Bond movies, and
you just have it as your top 4 on your profile.
My
It's like,
neurospice.
I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that yet. I got 500. No. But yes, so this opened the door to me to love more horror films as I got older, and I became a horror fanatic because of Scream first, then Mr. Carpenter's Halloween. So let's get into it, shall we?
Can I start? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I want to start.
Yeah.
You want me to give the synopsis? Do I get the synopsis? I didn't do the.
Yeah.
I give you the
Give us a little bit. Give us the tiny bit.
I'm going to give you the IMDb. The IMDb.
Okay.
Yes, Josh, you have
got
first
quiet.
dibs.
Yes. 15 years after murdering
fucking
his
God.
sister on Halloween night 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to the small town of Haddonfield, Illinois, to kill again.
Real quick, should be noted that it made $70 million in the box office and $325,000 budget. Was the highest grossing independent film of all time. It was dethroned by
It's an
TMNT or Paranormal or
Blair Witch Project. By
be-
the way, the $25,000 was to afford Donald Pleasence for 2 weeks.
The
2 weeks.
equivalent of that today would be $1.5 million.
Yep.
Which is nothing.
Nothing.
which is crazy because there's still movies that have made less than $70 million today.
Yeah.
Very true.
But yes, Josh, get into it.
I
Get
am
in there,
going
Josh.
to start because the fucking cockiness to start the movie with almost 3 minutes of black and the theme song. I'm like, and it is the most notable theme song probably ever. Probably ever.
You already know.
Like, you hear it. People who haven't seen this movie know it, I'm sure. And I'm just like, I started watching it and it had been a while and I was like, you son of a bitch.
You did it. You crazy son of a bitch. You really did it.
And then it goes into the scene and I'm like,
Little jack-o'-lantern.
Is that cocky, or is that just the way it was? Because a lot of movies had
Well,
credits at the
that's-
beginning.
I think that shows the
no,
true
it's
indie.
black.
There's no
No, it's black.
logos. There's no big
There's
fancy 20th century Fox or just black screen. The
Isn't it
music
the
starts playing.
skull and then the pumpkin and then the names?
But the music's first. You hear the
But
music for a
goes
good.
for like
for a
for
good
it
10
feels like
seconds.
forever.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no special intro. It's right to the music.
Don't you
The
guys
logo comes
close
up.
your eyes and listen to music? It's the
You
same
son of a
thing.
bitch.
No, I
I'm
stare.
in.
I stare.
Mine was this is a horror movie. The first time I saw it, I'm literally like, Esteves, why is this? Did I miss something? Is something going on?
I thought my streaming was broken because I was like,
Right?
I mean, I know I'm on an old computer. Like maybe it just doesn't
But
want to
it
play
should
the
be
high def-
okay.
Like it should be fine. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I also love the fact that young Michael Myers, is adorable.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
you see him and
He
you're
was a
like,
button.
oh, he's adorable. And then he just grows up to be a monster.
Don't trust Whitey.
No,
Right here
never. Especially in a clown
And
mask.
also, I love that the way that the parents are looking at him, and I love that the mom puts her hands in her pocket.
Yes.
And you're like,
She doesn't have anything else.
that is the appropriate reaction.
I'm not crazy. Okay. I wanted to make sure. I was like, I think movies did that. Lawrence of Arabia, one of my favorite movies of all time, has a 5-minute black with just music.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of movies did that. Yeah,
I think
a
that
lot
was
of
just a 60s to 70s thing,
Yeah.
Still.
which is like
I love it.
cool as fuck.
Well,
Josh,
and the thing
that-
is, like, they were very big on the score. They were very big,
Mhm.
and this is just and
Going to
horror
the movies was an event. Yeah.
Horror movies are just tiny in budget in nature.
People are still
but
coming
like,
into
yeah,
the theater.
movies. Yeah,
Mhm.
movies in general are like you hear
Assholes
it's black
beyond
and then
time.
music for a long time. Then da, 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 da.
It always bugged me, that part you're talking about when the camera pans away. But part of me feels like Carpenter is trying to like pause time, like really take in what just happened. Because no one's moving.
important.
They're like barely moving. They're just looking at him as the camera's like panning. Like maybe time paused for a moment as he's backing up before we
They're still moving.
fast forward.
I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see
I
that
mean,
they're
they are.
still
It is.
People have to breathe.
They're not
Well,
great
I
actors.
think the point of that, for me, and again, under this viewing, that this time was just very much about like the whole idea of Haddonfield, right? That's the name of the city. Is that it's supposed to feel safe, and this is again a post-war film, and it's supposed to be this like everyone is not worried about anything, and so like this very
could possibly happen.
slow pull away has this
Nothing
like
happens in our
are the
small
cops
town.
supposed to show up? Are the parents supposed to do something? Like, why is there like, this like lack of feeling? And then like, yeah, it's just not that high intensity. And then the horror of it later on, all the intensity happens.
On top of that,
like
on top of that, the horror movies before this were always up in dark castles. Psycho did bring you to a motel, but it was still somewhere up in the hills. Halloween was one of the first ones to bring you into town. You
it's in
couldn't
your little town.
have to go way over there. It's where you live. It's right where you
Mhm.
are.
Mm.
Evil comes home.
Mhm.
And I love like also the beginning. I'm not a great film historian, but just thinking about that, this is one of the first movies to use Steadicam, but
Mhm.
also getting that POV from In the Mask
Yes.
and boobies, but also
Yeah.
killing
And movies.
and
Yeah.
movies. But
Yeah.
just like the
Multiple
idea
times.
of like the POV of the kill, I just think that's
There's
scary.
something very eerie about that POV, like how fast the hand
In
goes
the
in.
mask.
the knife.
Like,
Yes, there's
that's
something
really
very-
cool.
And by the way, that is Debra Hill's hand.
Mm.
Deborah Hill is the hand, young Michael doing
Ah.
the stabbing and everything. That's her.
It's really funny because it
Yeah.
looks at her and then she goes, ah, right? And then all of a sudden, like, he looks away and then you see like the hand going sideways. I was like,
He's like,
who
"I'm
stabs
doing
like
it."
this?
I'm doing
I'm really
it.
doing it. You're doing it, Peter.
You're
doing
playing
no.
with us, Michael.
Yeah, like that, Corey. I mean, he probably
How
was
you guys cut your dinner?
It gave me
Exactly.
a
I
lot
cut
of
my dinner. I go like this.
yeah.
it gave me a lot of Bubba vibes.
Mm.
Bubba Hotep?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for those
Oh.
who don't know. Bubba.
I thought you said Bubba Hotep. I was like, Tom, how do you know that movie?
Because he's just like,
Comic book?
How
I
dare
was
you,
like, oh my
cultured.
God. Amy, continue the trend. Continue the trend. Favorite characters, best parts.
Oh, so many.
Okay, so favorite character, Jamie Lee Curtis is Lori. Like there's no question. The resilience, the very I know, and initially, even when I had originally read that, they hadn't set out to make it like the kids that are having sex are the ones that die first. Like virginity is sacred. Like they don't kill the virgin. It was literally everybody's too busy, and Jamie's like, I'm by myself. I'm taking care of this kid. Please leave me alone.
FML. Just
I'm here. Nobody wants to date me.
Don't tell Ben Tramer I like him.
Please. But it was in watching it, I remember that there's something very personable. There's nothing fake in her performance, where it does when we talk about, that evil comes home. Thanks, Tom. It feels
tonight.
Not that one. We're not talking about that one right now.
Later.
We're not talking about that one.
That's a line of a franchise.
We're not talking about that one.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'd actually rather not.
Not talking about.
Cult of Thorn.
Continue, Amy. Go on.
I'm letting y'all yell. But it feels very genuine, and I think that's something that I really appreciated. It doesn't feel like in the juxtaposition between Janet Leigh, when we talk about the reason that Jamie Lee was cast was because it was somewhat an homage to her mom and Alfred Hitchcock and Psycho.
Mhm.
In this, the performances they're similar, but they're not the same. Jamie's performance is very organic. It's very natural. It feels like literally this is just somebody I'm watching somebody else that's in my hometown, even though I don't really have a hometown, but you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And when we finally get to the point where, she's fighting for her life after it's my best and the best and the worst. Okay, I'm going to finish with Jamie, then I'll go to my best or worst thing because it's simultaneous. When we finally get to that point where she's fighting for her life and she's fighting to protect, just herself and everybody, it's so nerve wracking. And it's so
Do as I say.
yeah, it's just go, go, go. And some nowadays, especially when you get to later in the franchise where it's I'm going to let that kid die. Peace. There's a different sense of mentality that went along with it. But I think in the whole entirety of this is, and I told the Esteves about this many years ago, and I constantly bring it up. My favorite and my least favorite part about this is the sheer amount of anxiety and uncertainty that is built into every single breathing moment of this film. Yeah, it's not just the breathing, it's just the shot where there's something that's just slightly out in the scene. It looks a little weird, but you can't feel it
the whole time, and you know it.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker could never.
No, he could not. Sorry, Hayden. But it really it really, when it comes to a point of me and now continuing to explore horror movies, understanding the gravity of quietly building your anxiety, building that tension, building the fear of the unknown, that is something that I can never remove or tell John Carpenter enough. Thank you for giving me something that's just not, it's not gore porn. It literally, the
porn.
Story. Yeah, just regular boobies, please.
Yeah,
Like
regular.
Where's my beer?
PJ.
Yeah. That it really did bring something wholly unique to my viewing experience, but also give me an appreciation for a genre that I intentionally shunned because I was afraid. And this now not only gives credence but story to those fears, and it makes it more attainable for me as somebody that's continuing to grow in that genre in specific.
On that note, just something
That's
that
a really good answer.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Something that I experienced on that note that you were talking about, it's the movie is actually pretty tame. Watching it by today's standards of horror films,
yeah.
Like what we have seen,
in a world where Saw exists,
in a world where House of 1,000 Corpses exists, it's come on. Or watching our most
in a
recent,
world where Punisher Warzone exists.
the Antichrist.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch this and go, oh wow, there's kind of more boobies than there is blood.
There is
Yeah.
fact.
You're like, oh wow,
That kind of movie.
oh, it's like
Grace.
there's not much blood. There is, but not much.
There's
Very
not-
minimal. Very minimal. It's
It
Laurie's
was-
arm. It's Annie.
A lot of it's
getting-
Mike
yeah.
Myers. Blood.
Yeah.
Mike Myers blood.
So that was an interesting experience to watch it from a critical eye, for not like totally critical, but like watching it and like analyzing it a little bit of like, oh wow, there isn't that much.
Mhm.
And yet it still carries all of that gravity.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, and it's not just the, oh, it's off in my imagination. It's a culmination of so many things. Like we talked about Thing 2, and I'm going to segue slightly into Thing, but I'll come back to Halloween, I swear. Like even there, when we just hear the scuttling and we know what's going on and it's off screen, but this inhabits such a, you're not safe anywhere you are. And when Tom talked about, it's a small town, it's after the war, it's supposed to be everything's okay. And it finally makes, and I swear this is the reason I have a problem with house horror, because it's that idea of safety, that you should be safe behind a closed door or a locked door that's your own. And this is the reason that I don't like it. And I appreciate it and I hate it so much that at least I'm able to identify what I don't like.
There it is.
Don't
It
go
is,
check out the weird noise outside. That's all.
Don't do
No.
that. No.
Just
No,
lock
no,
the
you
door
stay
some
inside.
more.
You double up.
To the build up, it's the combination of, we know he's there watching. We know he's there the whole time, even when we don't see him.
He watches you when you're asleep.
That
He
too.
knows when
He
you're
knows you bad or good.
When you're doing
Uh,
Krampus is coming.
Also, how much that Dr. Loomis has told us about this kid, about this person. Dr. Loomis is telling us this whole time.
Yeah.
I watched him for 15 years, staring
talk
past
to-
the wall, staring.
Talk
to
about him like he's still human. That part of him died.
all that
4 hours
played
a day,
part.
every day for 6 months.
All that played a part while you're waiting to see when he's going to pop up, because you've heard Dr. Loomis say how frightening this character is, and you know he's there while Annie's on the phone and he's not doing anything yet.
Who was
There-
watching?
there's-
I don't know. You don't know?
There's a good, I feel like rehash of the log line, or like the
do you mean,
tagline for the
no?
movie is, you'll regret not having eyes behind your head. Kind of like, this is like, and I think that's Josh talked a little bit about the cinematography, and I think that's something that's just really important that should be talked about, just because like, color and light is truly respected, so that characters can truly disappear in the darkness, or reappear for effect. And I think, to Amy's point, and to everyone's point, it's not just gore porn, where it's just like, it's truly horror, right? So like the threat is looming
Is Loomis.
around,
Dr.
and
Loomis.
is
job, Corey.
Professor Loomising around.
Mm.
And it's watching, it's staring, and you can't, in the moment you blink, it's gone. But you know it's there. You feel it with the score. You feel it with the absence of the score. You see it in the background.
breathing.
It's I think that is the highest strength of it, is how it's shot, and then where everyone's placed in that. And it just, this is a very, very, very modest film when it like comes into like how it was made. And they used every single ounce of what they could to make it. And that it creates, this very iconic, as well as, it spawned 13 or 12 other movies that, are all trying to pay respect to it.
Fast and Furious could never.
Could never.
I mean, they're trying to.
They're
They're currently trying to.
See, if we want that
You
culmination.
know, they're only like
that-
one movie behind.
They're
Well,
only one
Michael-
move behind, baby.
Is
No.
it an Impala?
He's not in an Impala. He's not driving.
He's in a
We're not-
Dragula.
He's in a. I mean, like, this is the reason this is why when I went into Fast and Furious and I saw the third one, and then I saw Season of the Witch, I was like, it's an anthology series. They're both anthology series. It makes sense. No.
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 And
The
It's going
fourth
to
one
be.
really establishes how much about family it truly is.
Family.
I can't wait.
family.
My
Takes off
favorite
the
character.
mask, it's Vin
Yeah,
Diesel.
go
Yes, Corey.
My favorite
Yeah,
character-
sorry.
If I hadn't seen
Dr. Wynn at the very beginning? No.
that's right. It's the knife. That's my favorite character. because it does most of the work.
He just gets in there.
No, if I hadn't seen the rest of the including the rest of the franchise, knowing what goes on, it's Laurie. But not knowing the rest of the franchise, it's Loomis for sure. Dr. Loomis. I like the guy. It's the guy who knows what's going on, who's warning everybody.
Scares
in the
those little
very
kids
beginning
away.
when he's
No one's listening.
when
to
he's
him.
a kid. He's like, don't trust that fucking kid.
Mhm.
Don't trust that kid. He's
But
a
I've been saying
liar.
it for
He's a
years.
child. Shut the fuck
They're
up.
like, he's every day for 4 hours a day for 6 months. He's fucking lying. He's a liar. Don't trust him.
I love how
He must have
he
learned how to
gets out of
drive by watching us.
scaring those kids. Like I love the
Yeah.
when it goes to him and he's like,
Get your ass out of here.
if he could, he'd
And
go,
then he gets the big hero moment, right? Where you bust in,
does.
pop, 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 pop. We love it. Very cathartic.
He gets the final line.
He gets the peek over the balcony and he's gone. Oh, god damn it. So yeah, that's my favorite character. My favorite. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. That when you're talking about the look over the balcony, perfect for those out there who are trying to get into film world. Perfect Kuleshov effect. If you don't know what that is, it's shot reverse shot. When you juxtapose that, it could have been like squirrels and they're all dancing around like in a little campfire, and then you shoot back to him and he has that reflection. You're like, he does not like what he's seeing. So it's
This man is not happy about what he's looking at.
It's a
God
facial
insane.
expression of not that, oh my god, he's alive. It's I had a feeling this would happen. That's
Yeah.
the
Well,
look
and
he has.
The fun thing is they filmed it both ways, because the original way that Carpenter had wrote it was for him to be like surprised that it happened, and then the actor for Dr. Loomis said no, it should be like, oh damn it, this
I
kid
had a
he's
feeling.
up again,
I knew
like
this
it's
was
gonna happen.
We did
And
our
I'm like,
best.
yeah,
We
he
did our best.
tried.
It's
He's out.
really lame that this is my favorite part, because I know it's like it's the fucking bush scene, the bush shot.
Yeah.
Gets me every fucking time, because we love there's someone in the bush, go check, and then her friend walks over there, and the whole time you're like,
Lori dear.
what's gonna happen? But then it's followed by she goes in her house, right? Laurie's distracted by the bush, and we have one of the best jump scares in the fucking movie, where she jumps into her neighbor cop for like
Officer Brackett.
it's so good.
Yes.
It's so everyone's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one
One good
scare, I guess. Wonderful.
Howdy,
That
ho,
whole-
neighbor.
That whole like 2.5, 3 minutes for me is like cinema.
So good.
I love it. I adore it.
BTW, your daughter gets murdered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Annie's. Yeah. That's Annie's dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheriff Brackett.
So yeah, that's my favorite character. One of my favorite moments. I have a few others, but that's the one I get most excited about. And when I like think of the movie, that's the scene that pops.
That's
in my
your scene. This makes you just so happy.
because the jump
say
scare.
this.
It's so funny. I can't get that timing right. Like
Yeah.
it gets me almost every time, because I feel like it's gonna either I'm too early, or I'm like, oh, it's not gonna, and then it happens. I'm like, god damn it! Every
There's
time.
two shots of Lori looking over her shoulder. It goes back to her, and you think it's happening. Not yet. And then she bumps into Brackett. Yeah.
Tom.
No.
I mean, my favorite
Loomis.
is probably Dr. Loomis, just because, I think when I first watched it, obviously it's Lori, but then I think now, just because, we live in a time, it's Loomis, and I'm tired of saying shit for years and no one's listening to me. So I'm like,
My favorite
You're
character is Loomis, and
talking-
I'm tired of pretending that it's not.
I'm just like, I've been saying it for years, and no one's listening. And I'm like, I said it. I've said it. Why don't y'all just fucking listen? But no, I mean, I think it's pretty much like the final quote unquote attack on Laurie is probably my favorite sequences, just because it plays so much in the darkness and in the light. And I think those are the things. Like, I was watching something with a friend, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so scared." They're like, "It's not scary. It's just gonna jump scare." And to me, that is a scary movie, but it's not a horror movie.
Mhm.
A horror movie, I think, is the one that like sticks with you. It's like good mac and cheese, where it sticks to your ribs,
Mhm.
and you're just like, like, or like I remember I
I'm gonna
walked out
feel
of
this
theaters.
later.
Like I remember walking out of theaters
Feeling
like
it
when
now.
I was younger, and like being kind of like hunched over, being like, oh god, like I don't like that I can't see behind me sometimes. Like, those are truly good movies to watch, and this one, like, I can only imagine how it was like in 1978, like how people were feeling about that. But like, I think to me, Michael Myers, the myth, the legend, only got scarier. I think obviously this was like just the canvas for it, and then it exploded, and he gets scarier and scarier with every iteration. And Steve's the actor Cassell.
So director Nick Cassell does all of the movements, and then when the mask comes off, it's an actor named Tony Moran.
Tony Moran.
Yeah, and then he came back for the remakes and stuff like that. But just like that's really cool that this iconic movements has been so good, because it is that, and then it's really quick choking, and it's like again, it's like it feels human, but it's not. You know, and
Nick and John were best buddies at the time, making movies at the same time together. So it was like you do this for my movie, I do something for your movie when they were doing
college roommates.
Yep.
And I felt like it was, that's one of my biggest issues, and Esteves and I have had a tirade of text messages, because if we were rating this movie, it's 5 out of 5. I ain't going to take anything away from it. I hate that I don't know what the hell Michael Myers is. I'm like, can he die or can he not die? Does he breathe or does he not breathe?
I don't know.
Like if I shot him in space, would he become Jason X or not? I don't get it.
But if they take it there, I'll be very upset if they do that shit. But anyway.
Watching this, I created this whole like head canon. Like I was watching it and I was like, man, Michael Myers is fucking thin. Like he's tiny, and he just like lifts up this person. I'm thinking of the franchise, and I'm like, at one point, Michael like sets up a home gym, and he just starts fucking cranking.
It's in a sewer.
And
in the sewer where he goes down.
I think it's just every time he dies, he comes back stronger. I think that's what it is. I think it's one of those things.
I'm also going to
like what's his name? DC. Every time he
Doomsday.
Doomsday. Every time he dies, he just gets bigger and stronger.
Currently in the comics, he's died so many times that he can time travel, and he's like this little skinny guy with the hood, which is really weird. Secondly, I should bring everyone's attention to that Steve knows exactly what Michael Myers does when it's not Halloween, so he works out or doesn't work out.
Right.
I'm bringing attention to this short comedy that Esteves did.
Halloween, Michael's Days Off.
I appreciate every time you repost it, because I get to enjoy it, and now I appreciate it a little bit more than
it's about a 15-year-old short right now, and it's gritty video 8 editing. So yeah,
so gritty. But it's perfect.
We'll share it in Discord. You
that nice 480, baby.
Yeah, baby, you know it.
That's a different Mike Myers. Different Mike Myers.
Yeah. Another favorite part of mine is when he kills the boyfriend in the kitchen.
Bob.
In the kitchen?
That's your favorite part.
Yeah, Bob.
Oh,
yeah.
Bob.
That's been consistently your favorite part for every Halloween movie we've talked about.
I'm not gonna lie.
When he kills the guy in the kitchen.
Bob. I'm with Corey on the Bob. This is
that's my favorite part. Yeah.
Because he does that in I think every single Halloween movie. He stabs someone to a wall and then he looks at them.
I love it. It works.
He's studying the exit of life. Yeah.
Tom knows what I'm about to say and why I think that's so interesting.
Because it reminds him of Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic coming at you live.
Oh,
no competitive magic affinity for artifacts.
Because it's that he's a child. He's still a child. Mm-hmm. And I get to see that in that moment where you're like, he's not developed. He's just been in this institution since he was a kid. 4 hours every day.
That's a development song when he says it, and he goes, and that's when Michael discovered death.
He didn't kill anybody. He did. But yeah, Tom's totally right. Tom's totally got me pinned on that. Like that's to me, there's a part of my brain that it just scratches to see that. I'm like, character. Love this.
And that is something that they've kept throughout the entire franchise.
Creepy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's so creepy.
Yeah,
because he's like almost like,
that's what happens.
You know, it reminds me of like The Departed. Wow, she died funny.
Yeah, yes.
Like, good lord.
Yeah.
It just adds another layer of like this. This is so scary to me that this killer is just kind of like, interesting.
That happened.
So anyway, that's what happens when you do that.
Interesting. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah. I'll do it, but first I'm gonna.
She fell funny. That's what it was. She fell funny.
Yeah, she felt funny. Yep.
Anyway, that's another one of my favorite parts.
I like when Michael dresses as Bob, and then when he goes upstairs with the glass.
See anything
Where's
you
my
like?
beer?
See anything you like? Thank you,
Can you
PJ.
like?
Thank you, PJ.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. But the fact that he's just standing there, and I'm like,
And she
Just
gets
stand
so
there?
mad.
Oh yeah.
I know,
She gets so
Everyone-
mad.
I know, but
I
everyone
mean,
would. But he was
Reasonably
standing-
so.
Yeah. Where's my fucking beer? We
Because
just
she's putting on the charm.
yeah.
And she's doing the no sell.
We just got
and
it
then
on.
He didn't even get her the beverage that he was
The
supposed to
beeps
get
are
her.
out.
You wouldn't cuddle. I got the twins out. You wouldn't cuddle. You wouldn't get me a beer. And now you're wearing a sheet with your glasses on the outside.
It's literally no head. It's literally just like what else does she need to do? And Michael Myers just like not getting it. I'm like,
Nope.
bro,
I don't.
you're fumbling.
Look,
you're fumbling. Get out.
in
Get out.
the words
Tap
of
out,
Corey,
bro.
Michael, work on your
Carrot.
game, man. Work on your game, bro.
Get the Rizzler in there.
The Rizzler in there.
It's just it's so weirdly iconic too. Like
Mhm. Oh yeah.
you can the design of that just particular shot too. I have someone that has that tattooed on their leg, and it's Michael dressed as Bob. And every time somebody sees it, they're like, oh, I know who that is. And we're like, it's enough that there's just this one little kind of almost random moment that seems kind of random can be recognized like so clearly. It's so crazy and so cool.
It's also the moment they're waiting for in Scream in the finale when they're at the house party. They're watching it. Here it comes. And that's when she gets up. Yes, there it is. There's the shot. They're all celebrating the shot.
I like the meme at the pub.
Yeah, yes. There it is.
Evil dies tonight.
No.
Oh, sorry.
1978 movie.
Sorry,
78.
sorry.
Not
I'm so sorry.
2021.
He said pub cheering, and I just
No.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead.
No reporter from Dark Knight. No.
Evil cries tonight. It's like,
I'm
Well,
crying.
that's not good.
Okay.
So any other
Silver
favorite part?
Shamrock.
Steve's, yeah, you got to give us some.
Steve,
give me your
another
stuff.
part.
I can name the whole movie. You guys have
Give us
named
your
scenes
part.
I love.
One,
That's a trick
2,
question.
3, go.
Honest. Okay, since we focused on everything else, I'm going to
So evil.
focus.
Judith Myers.
Judith. I'll miss Judith. No. The friendship between Laurie, Annie, and Linda. That was Debra Hill's work. Carpenter had the whole Michael story plotted out and everything. He didn't know how to write or needed help writing the besties. And it's Debra Hill who came in because he had credited Debra Hill basically knew the way people talked at the time, knew the cool way of speaking at the time. And she brought in everything that she knew with her friends and put it into Laurie, Annie, and PJ. And Debra Hill actually hung out with those three quite a bit to get them to get used to each other, how to act with each other. And it's something that I always prefer over the other horror movies that exist, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason's movies. I never give a shit about the victims. I don't care, especially Jason. I don't care in Jason. They're just lined up to be murdered in Jason.
I'm going to draw a comparison. I recently watched all of the Final Destination movies, and exactly that happens. Where like as the movies continue, the relationships just dissolves.
You
and
don't
you're just
care
like,
anymore.
I don't give a shit.
The end of
What?
5. The end of 5.
Who gives a
No.
shit
The end of
about
5.
that? Like, I just care about the characters. Like, it was such a doomed relationship. Anyways, not the episode.
Amy,
The end of 5 made me cry.
I was waiting. Corey had a finger up as well.
I was just
I would like-
saw you guys do it, so I did it.
Okay, this is the free
This is me being like, Steve, I'm
This
gonna.
is mine. This is when I have something to say. I do
we
this.
the ones.
Okay. I was gonna say that hey, I cared about Annie, the one hitchhiker that got picked up in the first Friday the 13th movie, and she got murdered in the woods. I was all for her in my vote, and I got screwed.
Look how early they killed her. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
was
made
out at the end of that movie.
and that's one of my many reasons I love this movie is because I gave a shit about those three. I saw my wife and her two best friends when we went to high school together. That's who I saw in those three in that movie. And that just I cared. I cared about what happened.
You know,
to those
nothing
three.
good happens to them, right?
Oh, I know, but I want to I want to care about the victims in the movie. I want to give a
The
shit
mechanic.
because I want the mechanic.
And he still walks away.
Yes,
He's in the bush. Just look at the bush. Just look in the bush.
Well, he found the matches. That's how he knew he was on the right path. He's good. But that I cared about them. There's a great shot. That's not even a scary shot at all. It's when Laurie and Annie are in the car together, and the camera is now in the back seat.
Beautiful.
And they're chatting. That sunset that comes over Annie while she's chatting. I love that shot so much. It's Laurie being vulnerable, talking about how she has feelings for Ben Tramer, and just I just love that angle. There's so many angles. The sweeping shot of Laurie waiting for Annie to pick her up when she's holding the pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
The whole opening walk sets the tone for me with Halloween. It's what I feel on Halloween Day is her when she's walking to school. I can't go on all of them.
Apparently, and the tonality again for those who care about film stuff. This was like John Carpenter saying his naturalistic approach to the filmmaking. He wanted to use as little cuts as possible. So that's why he had these sweeping shots, and he's like, cool, don't cut unless you need to, which provides a lot more room for the dramatic as well as the chemistry to live in the scenes.
Last thing, favorite character. All the respect to Dr. Loomis, because he's the one trying to wake everybody up and no one's listening.
Boogeyman.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it was. I am a huge Laurie Strode fan, not just because I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but the character. It doesn't hurt at all. I love the Laurie Strode character. She is the resilience, like Amy was saying. She is the friend who isn't having as much fun as everyone else, but is the one.
Her own life. I love that.
Exactly. But is the one
to herself.
Who is the strength. She is the one who maybe she could have saved her friends if she knew what was happening. She keeps the kids safe. Her famous line that gets used over and over down the road, do as I say. And I'm a huge Laurie Strode fan. She set the tone for the final girl.
She took care of Tommy.
She took care of Tommy and Lindsay.
She fought like hell.
She in the moment thinks
that
of
closet
weapons. Like she just like she's like, oh, I'm gonna use this.
I saw MacGyver once.
Yeah,
I was like paying attention to that, and I was like, holy shit! Like in the moment, she's like, oh, that's a metal hanger, which are fucking deadly. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
got him in the eye.
Suck. But like
I was like apparently not.
Oh, also, real brief connection. Something that happens in the beginning that happens also in the end, and I'm not sure if this is tied, but I loved it. In the beginning, when young Michael goes to kill Judith, there is a jack-o'-lantern on the railing of the porch.
Yep.
Fast forward to the final killing, the house where all the killing is happening. There is a jack-o'-lantern on the railing of the porch. It's Michael's thing. Michael's thing. Yep.
He's a child.
In a very large murder man body.
Love that shit.
There are some little factoids I think that should be noted. And Esteves, you probably know these ones. There was a new edit for the TV release, which they shot so that they can make it long enough to fill a 2-hour block, which is all of the things that a lot of people don't like about the second movie, which is the relationship thing. Because in those scenes, they show more scenes of Loomis and Michael at the asylum, and there's sister allusions to it. And apparently, there was even like they wanted to throw in the Cult of Thorn, I think, in the second one, or
that's why they say said incorrectly Sam Hain. That was supposed to set that up.
Sam Hain instead of Samhain.
Because they actually
that's the band, right?
Yeah. By the time Halloween was on public television, they'd already begun production on Halloween 2. So they shot those scenes to put in there. Carpenter wrote that sequel on like a 6-pack of beer and like in an overnight, basically. But if you watch it again,
A wing and a prayer.
people will be like, oh, they totally was a sister the whole time. You can tell in the first movie. If you think about it and you go back, the only reason Michael's following her at school is because she came up to the house and dropped off the keys while he was there. She's his first contact with the outside world. And that's why he follows her. Not because they're siblings, but because she's the first thing he sees. And then he sees her friends. And then he sees Tommy. And he keeps following on from there.
For the gamers in there, you could play as Laurie Strode in Dead by Daylight. And the whole mechanic of the game, one person out of the 4 survivors has to be the obsession.
Ooh.
So Michael Myers' obsession, and that's the thing, right? I think that's like, and I was listening to Tarantino actually has a pretty interesting point that I think Esteves might like. That the first one, phenomenal, untouchable, but he actually says that her resurrection is cool because you get to see Laurie Strode as an adult now, and then that's, I think, furthermore adds to why a lot of people love the David Gordon Green ones, where like now Laurie Strode is now a grandmother. So it's like the different eras of Laurie Strode fighting this same entity, the shape.
Mhm.
I think that's an interesting lens to watch these movies through.
Mhm.
And then the reason you watch the Rob Zombie ones is to see Daniel Harris being a different character.
Yes, and become a
great.
fan of Scout Taylor Compton. I like her.
So, just want to throw those factoids in there.
Mhm.
I haven't
Anything
seen.
else? Yeah.
No, just the fact that with the timing thing, I alluded to it in my opening. I can't believe that they don't meet until the last. There's only 15 minutes
Mhm.
of them
Mhm.
together in this whole movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Oh,
Incredible.
I didn't notice that until this time around because when it got to her sequence with Michael, I was like, oh man, there's got to be like 30 more. Oh, there's 16
it?
minutes left of the movie. Got it.
yeah. Hang on.
Yeah.
Understood.
Hang on.
Yeah.
There's two errors that I caught this time.
Love it.
That one I caught this time, one I've known before. When Bob is carrying Linda into the house, he forgets to close the door to the van.
What an idiot.
That van's
That's
door is
not-
open the whole night.
that's
just
not a
rude.
mistake. That's not a mistake.
That battery is going to be dead with the light
That's not a
on.
mistake. Do you know how many people do that normally?
Yeah. He never goes back to close it. It's true. It's just open the whole time.
Yeah.
Second,
Cool.
the way you can tell that the outside is not the same as the inside when Lori's running back and telling Tommy to open the door because Michael's chasing her. Outside, the doorknob is on the right. On the inside, it's on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Oh,
I never caught that till not today, but like years later. I'm like, oh yeah, they did it's not the same indie film.
That
huh? What are you
motion's
gonna do?
very
What are you gonna
different in
do?
my mind, Esteves.
This one? It's all,
Yes.
none. That one. Anyway. Also, if you get a chance on YouTube, they have the audience reaction of Michael doing the rise up after we think he's dead. And
Oh,
hearing people
that is so,
scream
like,
in the theater when that happens. It's like like watching Endgame.
Mm.
That's the crowd you hear when that moment
Guys in the
happens.
pub?
Yes. Just
um,
screams when they see Michael sit back up.
There are a couple of
Oh,
janky edits that I had to go back and like look, and they were like flash frames. It was weird. I was like, did I see something wrong, or who knows what could have happened in the past 50, 40 years of like
It'll
what
come
could
out.
have-
Years.
what
50,
could have-
40 years.
that could have
Yeah.
happened with the edits or whatever that they've done. Like, I don't know. I watched it on Amazon Prime and I was like, there was just something. Anyway, that was
Mhm.
yeah. There was a couple of weird edits.
Amy, did you have one last thing you were going to say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, you guys are talking about 2, and I never saw 2. So this is literally how this went. I saw 78. I saw Season of the Witch. I like an anthology.
Nice.
2018.
Yeah, she
And then
skipped
the
all
rest of them that way.
Yeah.
I
You missed
have
H2O.
no,
She
I have
skipped the
no
sibling.
context.
She
I have
skipped
no
the
context.
Thor.
Resurrection?
No.
nothing.
Stop with the
I'm-
resurrection.
I'm
Stop with the resurrection.
blank.
Stop with the
So literally,
resurrection.
when you guys are talking, I was like,
Busta
you're like, oh yeah,
Rhymes.
for the TV edit. For the TV
Busta
edit, they
Rhymes.
made it to 2 hours, and they put some more stuff in there. I'm like, oh, there was a TV edit?
Yeah.
Huh. And then you're like, yeah, it's in 2, and I'm like,
Busta
Nope.
Rhymes.
nope.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's okay.
One
You
day.
can keep
One
it
day,
that
Amy.
way.
One day.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm
that's fine.
happy to keep it this
Ignorance
way.
is bliss for a reason.
I
It's
I
fine.
love Busta Rhymes. I listen to all his albums. I hate him in Halloween Resurrection, but that's a different story.
It's for another
maybe
time
we'll
and
talk-
another place.
We'll talk about it in another episode.
Delivering a roundhouse kick to Michael. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey,
Any
that's
last
fine.
things
He do what he wants.
before we get to our last segment of the episode? Have we covered all the things we want to talk? Yeah, I see, Amy.
Yeah.
Did we gush any about the sound editing in this? Not only with we talked that John Carpenter did compose the score and everything, and he's just like, it's what I do.
It's what I
did the
do.
cool things.
This is my
That's
movie.
what I do. Those are cool things.
It's my movie.
But I think and Josh, I blame you for this, which is
You're
great.
welcome.
Thank you. I've become more critical and more aware of how the sound is designed in films, and even for an indie film. I really wanted to at one point just put on my headphones and kind of listen to this to feel how the intentionality of the way that it was shot then versus like 2018, perfect example, how it's differed so much and the impact therein of each of them. And I think there's again, there's something that's like so pure about the original Halloween that it still carries itself, and it doesn't need to it doesn't need to do extra, and I'm air quoting this, extra fancy tricks to get you in that right headspace to, and
It
Tom
goes
talked
back
about
to
it.
what I almost called him Anthony. Esteves was saying about like kind of the naturalistic of just like normal, like just life. And there isn't a lot of stuff
That's
going on.
life.
You know, it's like there isn't, when you're trying to focus on the regularity of life, and it's you don't need to add sound design because life doesn't come with whoo, shing, like that doesn't it doesn't happen in
I mean, I do that
that's right.
Corey's like that. though.
Corey does
under
do
my
that.
breath.
So
all
the
the time.
simplicity of the sound design, I noticed it too. Some of it was almost out of, there were a couple of things where I was like, wow, that's empty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's like no, and you're just like kind of listening. And it's part of one of those other things, like I said, moving through and it's starting to explore more horror, that the absence of sound, especially when it's pure absence of sound, and it's not like, oh, somebody's just turned it down and they're going to turn it up and scare you. In this, it's literally like there's nothing there.
Mhm.
Like there's not the breeze or the trees or, you know, stabbing a knife into a pumpkin to get that, you know, the perfect sound.
Mhm.
It's just there. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do love the sound of his body plopping on the ground.
Yeah.
That canned like stock audio. I'm like, I've heard that before.
I will throw in real quick my tradition every year when I get a chance. So AMC around this season always has their Fear Fest.
Steve,
Where-
we're not sponsored. Don't.
Where it's you get a
Don't do
month
this for
long.
free.
You get a
Brought to you
month
by
long
Shudder.
horror movies on AMC. Of course, they're edited, but still, it creates the ambiance. And they always kick it off with Halloween, the first one, and on Halloween night, they run through that movie all day long. But I got to experience once because I saw the transition that on October 1st from the last non-horror movie ending to them kicking off. So it's all the credits are rolling and then black screen and the score hits that Josh talked about. I'm like, we're here. It's here. Game on. Fear Fest
My
is here.
movies.
My movies. Give
I'm
me that
John Carpenter.
Loomis. Give me that
So good.
Strode. Give me the Mikey.
Oh, but you know what, Steve? How about you real man? You can watch every Halloween movie in 21 hours and 7 minutes.
I could do that.
Nonstop.
I mean, I make
You
fun
have
of
to do
four
those-
Halloween.
watching.
Halloween takes place in one day. You could watch all Halloweens in one day.
I would gladly do that, and I'd still make fun of like parts of 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, but no, I would totally do that. Absolutely.
He almost said it. He almost said resurrection.
He almost did. He was right there.
Hey, yo, Mikey.
And then
Corey
he
is
got-
paid by the resurrection lobbyist.
He is. Corey is.
My big resurrection.
Oh my God.
Here he is.
Here he is.
He just made $6.
$6, yes.
I will,
Go.
I will watch Shitty 5 and Paul Rudd's 6th over Resurrection any
The
day.
goo. Okay, everybody, we're gonna go to the last part of the show, which is one interesting thing where we're gonna talk about a game, a TV show, a book, a song, any hidden gems that has nothing to do with this movie. Who would like to go first? Amy?
I love that you threw me on the spot while I was deep thinking, but it's okay.
Okay, first of all, Amy, you are the best host because you're the one that's constantly looking into the camera while everyone looks around and be like, oh, is there fucking something I did at all? So,
I have
There's something on this bottle I can talk
Something
about.
interesting about
I got a
me
sticker. I don't know.
Corey has something.
Amy's like, please help
Corey.
me.
This note has shades. It has shades on it.
No, Amy, I mean, you're up
go,
first.
go ahead,
That's
Corey.
how it goes. No, Amy's up first. It's
Check
fine.
out this
No,
pen.
I've-
I got
I've
this
more
Put
pen.
her on the spot.
Sell me this
I'm
pen.
more than.
Oh, look, I dropped my thing.
Why am
Steve,
I
shut up.
selling you a
Amy's talking.
pen? Why would I sell you a pen, especially that one? That's not one of the ones I like.
It's a movie line. I'm sorry.
No G2s. Thank you. So as of late, I have been just, exploring things that I have a tendency to miss. And so I went back and watched Chaos, which is available on Netflix. It has
K.
Jeff Gold. Yes, with K. Kaos. My
Yes.
my finger spelling's probably off. Sorry, the K is correct. We're following a couple of different people. It's it's Greek mythology, but with a little bit more of a modern twist. Jeff
Chaos.
Goldblum is Zeus, and it is narrated in such an interesting way that I've been enjoying it, and I just finished it today. And hopefully we will see a second season forthcoming, because basically a whole bunch of stuff has happened. We've reached the climactic end of the first season, and chaos should reign.
Chaos.
Someone Jeff
Chaos.
Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum.
I remember the ads
Chaos
for it. That's right.
dies tonight.
No, no.
But
Stop.
also I've been watching Clone Wars, a lot of Clone Wars. Clone Wars. I gotta finish this. I have not finished it.
Good.
I'm in season 5. I'm season 5 towards the end of season
I'm
5.
proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I've been working.
So good.
I'm-
It's so good.
It's so good and so problematic, because now, since I've watched everything else outside of this, and I did the Jendy Tarkovsky as well as the micro series, and then when we had the anniversary for Revenge of the Sith, and I was like, oh, this one's perfect and this fits in here, but then you have Dave Filoni's like 2008 variation, and me watching everything else on the outside of that, and then being like, Master Yue. Thanks. Master Yue.
The Old Republic.
Well, I mean, I used to play Star Wars Online, so it's just so many things. The plate, she is full.
We
The
love it.
plate,
We love
The plate. She's full.
the plate, she's full. But yeah, there's some things.
Good job.
Hey, yay!
Nice.
Thanks.
My thing is that I have been going recipe by. I've been teaching myself how to make a marinara from scratch and figuring out what my version of it is. So I learned how to make like a base recipe. I tried a few different ones and found the base that I like, and I've just kind of been building on that and figuring out how I want to make my own, and start making it every Sunday to put in the fridge and stop buying pasta sauce, because if you buy it in the store, it's got so much fucking sugar in it, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I enjoy doing, and I can cut out the sugar there, so let's do it, so that's been my cool thing I've been doing for the last few
Cook
weeks.
marinara.
Can we
on
get
Sundays.
a base recipe, a copy of your base recipe?
Yeah, I was like,
That we
what's
make
the
free
is there
style
a
as
basic?
when I figure out what I want, I mean, the one I landed on is I tried a bunch of different canned tomatoes to start with, like the big tomatoes to crush, and it really is the San Mariano.
The yellow
One?
can.
Yeah, it has to be those. I tried like 4 or 5 different kinds, and every time I did that, I was like, this is just way better from start. So chop up a bunch of onions. I like to use 4 cloves of garlic, but the original recipe called for 2. I like 4. I went up to 3. I felt like I needed more. So put those all in, some olive oil, let those sweat for a little
Get
bit.
to know each other.
Yeah, and then you
Make
put the
friends.
crushed tomatoes on top.
Touching each
Add
other.
your seasonings. So like,
Touching
whatever. I'm throwing
me.
basil in the front. I'm throwing basil and bay leaves in with oregano and a few other things. And letting that cook for like 4 hours on low, and letting it
Okay.
really just like reduce down. Salt and pepper to taste, and I like to add red chili flakes.
Okay.
And
I'm
go from
following
there.
pretty similar. Yeah.
And now I'm adding more things here and there. I tried one with carrots at the beginning as well to blend those up, cook those, blend those, puree them, and then like push out the fibers and put it back into the pot. It turned that made it taste more like a stew than like a marinara. So I cut that back out. So yeah, I've been doing stuff like that, which has been really fun to figure out how it's going. The big game changer for me was before right when you're about to leave it for the 4 hours, you cut off a piece of the Parmesan rind, like a big chunk, and throw it
Drop
in there
it
and leave it in
in.
there for
Yeah.
4 hours.
Mhm.
So that was the big one for me. I was like, oh, this is a thing I will do forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a
I'm
really
getting
good
there. Slowly but surely figuring out how I want to build
Sounds
my own
evil.
sauce. It's so good. You take it out at the end. You take
Evil
it out at
dies
the end.
to. No, just kidding.
It doesn't melt. It doesn't melt. It just adds this like tang to it that you want. And I the last one I did, I also added like a little just like a little white vinegar to it towards the end to just give it a
Yeah.
little.
A little bit of the pop brings a little bit more of it out with
That's
the
what I've been
acidity.
doing.
Very nice.
That's my one cool thing. I'm very proud of that.
Totally.
I like this for you. This is great,
Yeah.
Corey.
Uh,
next?
Esteves?
Just realized I didn't bring up how often they said totally in the movie. My one
I
cool
noticed
thing,
that. I was like, in one scene, there was like totally, and then like 2
Totally.
seconds, totally. I was like, totally.
totally new thing, totally one thing. I finished reading a graphic novel called They Called.
And he does
it.
it all by himself.
He
Oh my
will read tonight.
gosh.
No,
He will read tonight. Yes.
the graphic novel was They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. It was about his family's experience in the Japanese internment camps during World War II. And I had it. I bought it from our local Elk Grove bookstore, which they're not sponsoring us either, but whatever. A seat at the table. And it was one on their banned book table, because there's like 3 school districts who banned it because history.
I don't want you to know about it.
History dies tonight.
Is scary.
Yeah, exactly. So I finally got around to reading it, and it is so well done. It incorporates his TED Talk he did in Kyoto back in 2014, his history through it, his history after it, his relationship with his father. It's a fantastic read. It's about 200 pages, but it goes by so quick. And it's an important read. So I highly recommend it. Again, it's called They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. Oh my, you know who he is.
Oh my.
You know who he is. So yeah, throw that on your reading list because it's phenomenal.
Done.
Very nice.
Josh?
Totally.
Gosh, I'm torn. Because Corey just like
Natalie
inspired
Imbruglia?
me. I'm like,
Thank you, Tom.
I'm torn.
learn how to work on your car. But no, I've been spending a lot of time working on my Jeep, and I've learned a lot of things, and it's been really interesting. No, I will bring
right pedal, go.
I
left
think,
pedal. Great.
Amy, I think that you would like this one specifically because we've talked about John Carney movies in the past.
Yes.
This movie is called Kneecap. It's on Netflix.
Wow.
Okay.
And it has a very John Carney feel. It's what it's about is it's about a rap group in Ireland, and they rap in native Ireland. It's based on a true story. It stars the group Kneecap. They're phenomenal actors. I'm like, it was like a really good story. It's because there was this whole thing that was happening in like the 2019 area of history in Ireland where they were trying to basically get rid of the Irish language. And many people were holding strong in this group. They started rapping in native Irish. And it's
Michael Fassbender.
It's really good. It's
Nice.
really good. We started watching it because we were
Put
like,
it
oh,
on
that's
the
cute. And
That's cute.
there are very funny moments, and there are musical moments, and Kneecap.
And Kneecap on my list.
Totally.
Putting it on my list right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom, if you're going last. I'm going to be putting this on my list real quick. So
Totally last.
I'll wait. So will the audience on this audio
the
show.
audience is going to wait while I'm
He
literally
pulled-
on my.
He pulled the
Fine.
annoyed teacher. I'll wait.
Oh,
You can-
come on.
you can
Do you
wait.
have enough for the rest of the classroom?
Sorry,
Tom,
but
what's
this-
your cool thing?
So my Netflix.
Totally.
My
my
one
Netflix password?
cool thing is that I've been going to some events and watching some shows that I have not been watching, but that
That's
has
so
made me
cool.
now go watch some shows.
Nice.
And the
Yes.
show I'm talking about today is called Animu based off of manhwa. A manhwa is a Korean manga. For those who don't know, it's called Solo Leveling, and it's really big right now. Solo Leveling season 2. When people told me who have read the manhwa, they were like, "Yo, you only watched season 1. You don't even know. Like you get so much crazier." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? This shit was great to begin with." And I'm like, "I didn't know. Holy shit, this is really good. Oh my god, I was wrong. Here we are. This shit just went cray. I don't know how the hell they're gonna top this, but apparently everyone's like, you'll see, man." And I'm like, I'm ready. And I'm with now the rest of the people who hate watching anime because they'd rather read the manhwas or mangas, because now it'll take like 3 years for them to animate the next season. I'm like, yo, that's a real thing. And us Americans are just like, why don't they just binge it all? And I'm like, oh, y'all have no such thing as patience. Or like the rest of the Asian community is like, we will wait 7 years.
We'll
for
wait
a new
forever for
season.
this.
I'm like,
That's all I have
God
to do,
bless. So yeah, Solo Leveling really good. I like it a lot.
good,
Very
so good.
silly premise. Very good at world building and dramatic tension. Best elevator pitch I can give is in the
Acting.
modern time. Dungeon gates like an MMORPG start opening up where fantasy monsters can attack. People have to go in and they get their magic awakened, and then they just do MMORPG stuff. So you go into S level dungeons or A rank dungeons, blah blah. And this one guy dies, and then he starts being able to reawaken and level up himself.
And he's the lowest. He's the lowest level. He starts
Yeah.
at the lowest level, like straight up the lowest level.
And then he's-
Levels die tonight.
And he has a lot of cool internal monologues, like Michael
the
Myers is a
time.
killer shark in baggy ass overalls.
Anyway.
It's just,
Yay.
Anyway, let's bring
all
this
but that's
home.
it. Josh, you want to sing us out?
Yes, we're gonna do it. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to join the ride that is this, consider joining the Nerd On Nation, powered by Patreon. And you get early access to our episodes, sometimes months in advance. And I think the best part, if you really want to join this journey, join our Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. There are a lot of cool people in there, a lot of conversations going on all the time, lots of channels. And if you're a member of the Nerd On Nation, you get special channels that are just for you.
Ooh.
Secret.
Yeah, secrets. But that's it. Thanks for watching. That's it. I got nothing else except to say, you know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Nerd on.
Evil is gone from
died.
here. Evil is gone.
Dun, 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 dun,
Evil
dun,
dies.
dun, 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 dun.
All right. That was a good episode.
He gets a kick from. He gets his.
Ending broadcast.